Okay, welcome to our fourth tutorial on CSC show control, just continuing from where we left off on our last tutorial. So far in our imaginary show, we have our pre-show music fading out, we've got our opening music, we've then got our doorbell, dog barking, and our door knock. Just so I'm going to get some more room on the screen, I'm actually going to remove some of these modules, so I will start by removing the notepad module, so I'll just quickly show what that does. You can type in here very simple messages, pre-show, so we can say fade pre-show on house clearance, and maybe the doorbell, we could say, if I could type anything. And you'll see that as you go through the cue list, different things will appear in the notes window depending on what queue you're in and what you've typed in. Obviously, you need to just be aware of what mode you're in. If you're in the highlight next queue, you'll need to make sure that the notes are put into the queue that you want to show. But again, as you see, as you highlight a queue, the notepad will show what it is you need. I'm just going to close that for now, just so we can see a bit more of what's going on in our show here. Okay, so the next part of the show is the emerging danger underscore, as the director has called it. It's a slightly eerie piece of music that we are going to need to build up and layer over the top some thunder sound effects. So just to have a quick look at how we would go about doing that. Again, opening up our folder of audio, you can see we have here emerging danger underscore, so we're just going to drag that in. And let's have a listen to this. So I'm trying to hit play. Obviously, nothing's happening because I'm on player 2. Okay, so here's our piece of underscore. And around about 20 seconds, the director said he liked the idea of some thunder, but listening to this now, he wants a thunder rumble, and then actually he'd like a big thunderclap. Well, this looks like the perfect point for a thunderclap around here, so 40 seconds for the actual thunderclap. Again, if we want to have a look at the audio, we can always open it up in this window, and we can actually see there's some crescendos here. So around 38, 39, 40 seconds, this looks like a perfect point to put a thunderclap in. So we have that. We've got a couple of thunders here. We've got a rumble, and then we've got a big thunderclap. So let's drag in the rumble, which is here, and let's have a listen to that. Okay, the underscore is on player 1, so let's just move that to player 2. And then we've also got a big thunderclap, and we'll move that to player 3. Let's just have a listen. Okay, so we have our 3 pieces of audio, but the director says that it only really needs to last about 20-25 seconds. Now, we've already seen that the emerging danger underscore, the crescendo, doesn't happen until about 38 seconds. So we could go ahead and we could start trying to open this up, and we could potentially say, okay, let's work 25 seconds back from this, which would be, so 40 seconds. We're looking at maybe starting at 15. So one possible thing would be to actually start the music here and begin playing. Now, of course, if I play this, we're straight in. One of the nice things here is that we can do a fade in very quickly. We can actually, you'll notice that it's called fade in by default. And if we say 3 seconds in here, actually when we fire this cue now, actually fades it in. And then we could have our thunder rumble. And then this is the crescendo moment coming up now. So that would be when our thunderclap goes in. Now, this is all we can do this way. We can use the links and the auto follows as usual, but CSC actually gives us a more powerful tool to be able to design all of this. So I'm just going to reset the music here back to the beginning. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this audio event and I'm going to paste it onto that cue, and I'm just going to copy that and paste it onto that cue. Okay, I'm now going to delete these cues. Okay, so we've moved everything now onto the same cue. So, of course, if I was to play that together, we get a big mess of everything, we get the fade up, it's not what we want. But this is where we can start using the built-in weight system. So you notice that we've got a player weight for each player. So this is, once you've fired the cue, you don't actually have to fire something audio-wise straight away. Now, that's still a bit tricky, but if we visualize this, things become a bit easier. So up here we have a button which will load CSC's timeline. So here is the same cue, but shown visually. So we can see the music now. We can see that the crescendo here is happening around this point in time. And we said we wanted this to be about 25 seconds. So we can actually start using this as if we were using it like a digital audio workstation. And let's just manipulate this. So I'm dragging the first bit of time there. If we just move that now, we can actually see now, this is perfect. The crescendo now is coming in around 24, 25 seconds. We also have the thunderclap. Now, we can see that at the beginning, there's a bit of a delay on that thunderclap there. We've already seen how we could have opened it up in the audio editor. You can always get access to that audio editor double-clicking here. But we can very quickly just move the beginning of that file. So the thunderclap we want to coincide with the crescendo of the music, which we said was about here. So let's just drag this along here. Something like that. And what we probably want to do is then end the music very quickly on the thunderclap, because the director wants that thunderclap to be the end of that sequence. So I can either drag the end backwards, or in this case I'm actually just going to find it quicker just to hit the end button on here, and then when I go back in it's already ended. And then actually I can drag the volume handle, and that will do a very quick fade out at the end of that audio. And let's just have a listen to what we've got there. Perfect. Okay, I might actually want to just manipulate that a little bit more. Maybe just a longer fade out as well. Something more like that, maybe. Okay, so I'm liking that. And then all we need to do now is actually add in our rumble. So the rumble doesn't start till about here. So again, I'm just going to move this in here. And let's move this across and see what we've got. Yeah, this is starting to look like the director wants. So let's have a listen to the whole piece. Perfect. So that's exactly what the director's asked for. And by doing it in the timeline, it's a much quicker and easier way of manipulating this. And what we now have is almost DAW-like control, but inside CSC. So obviously we could have made that and bounced it out as a WAV file, but the advantage of keeping it in separate pieces here is, of course, we can now route separately. Within the timeline here, so our emerging danger underscore, we would want to be on front of house. But of course, the thunder rumbles, we might want to be upstage. So we could quite easily move that to upstage. Or even go even further, and we could actually open up our routing type. Now you see initially it's telling me routing type doesn't use this type of file. That's because I am just using a bus. There's no matrix involved with the bus. But if I opened up in the group mode, then I can actually start to put the final thunderclap maybe a bit of everywhere. So I could do upstage. Let's just stereo link. So both faders move. So actually now we're starting to get into some more interesting sound design here, because what we've now done is we've put the final thunderclap into front of house and on stage. We've got the thunder rumble here. We've literally just sent that currently to upstage bus, but we could move that to a group and we could say, actually, let's just have the first thunder rumble just on upstage, and then the final thunderclap comes out front of house as well. So in this window, we've been able to set everything up very quickly. We can also adjust the levels here. And if you want to fine tune anything, you can start using the mute and solo buttons. So we will return to using the timeline a bit more in a future tutorial. But for now, let's just see what we've got. We have the emerging danger underscore. The one thing we didn't do was actually fade in the underscore from what I remember. So again, we can either just type in a fade in time here, or if we want to see it visually, we can have a quick look and just drag the fade handle maybe in 4 or 5 seconds. And let's see what we've got now. So you can see player 1 and player 3 are sat in waiting. They're still counting down. One of them started. And actually, it turns out that listening to that back, we might decide that actually the music needs to cut off a bit sooner, because I could still hear the tail on that. So it's just very easy just to go back into here and actually end the music a bit quicker. So we'll just move that and we'll shunt that back across. And obviously with a lighting change at the same time. Then we would have made the desired effect. So that's a very quick way of creating a soundscape using the CSC's timeline, rather than having to look into wait times and fade times and everything else that might end up a little bit complex.